We'd like to welcome in all you folks watching us now on Hatter Vision. Our apologies for the technical issues, but it looks like we got them figured out. So you're joining us here with the Hatters holding a 3-0 lead against Florida A&M. The Rattlers are threatening, though. Nick Durgan, the freshman out of Melbourne, starting his game off by retiring the Rattlers 1-2-3 in the first and in the second, but it's been trouble since. Sejuan Lawrence starting off this inning with a walk, a 4-pitch walk. Joseph Perini, the freshman DH, then singled between first and second. And that sets the stage right now for the shortstop, Robert Robinson, trying to bunt his way on. Then Pregent lost his eye on the ball, popped out of his glove. Durgan managing to pick it up for the Hatters before the runners can move.
Yeah, Lawrence got some hot cheese there, had to back away from him, and it kind of discombobulated everything on the plate there. And fortunately, the runner doesn't move over to third.
Yep. Kenny Scherlinger alongside me. I'm Assad Bendion. Thank you for joining us, folks, on this day for Stetson Hatters baseball. Game 1 of the 2021 season. Last night, of course, between teams rained out. So we're doing 2 today and 2 tomorrow. All the baseball you can handle. 1-1. And Robinson bunts that foul down the third baseline. And since the first part of this game, I'll tell you the 2 big things you missed. Brendan Hilton's 2-run homer in the first, his first bomb as a Stetson Hatter. And then Nick DePonzio doing likewise in the bottom of the second, a solo shot. Both of them over the right field wall, both of them taking advantage of that northeast wind at 12 miles an hour, definitely blowing things out towards right field here at Melching Field as Robinson swings to the high fastball there. And that is a punch-out. That is the third one of the game. And first out here in the top of the third. So we cycle back to the top here. Jared Weber. And as Dave Thurno will go to the mound here and have a talk with his freshman pitcher, let's kind of set the lineup card here for you. Florida A&M, Weber, the leadoff hitter, left fielder, 0 for 1 with a K. Octavian Moyer, the second baseman. He popped out to third base side foul territory. L.J. Bryant, the other K victim, right behind him. He's in right field. Heart of the order for the Rattlers, Tucker Rayburn, the catcher. Tristan Cooper, the third baseman. Evan Johnson, the first baseman. And as for the Hatters, you've met Durgan, of course. Kristen Pregent behind the plate. Hernan Sardinias, the main transfer at first. Jorge Arenas getting a start at second base, not shortstop. That's not a typo. Kyle Ball is starting at short today for Stetson. Jackson Olsen, the Hartford transfer, is at third. In the outfield, it's Andrew McNeil in center, Nick DePonzio in left field, Eric Fago in right. And with 2 runners on board here, Weber steps in. Fastball inside, misses, 1-0. Weber, the main offensive threat for the Rattlers last season before COVID cut everything off. 1 homer, 11 RBIs, a .393 batting average. And that pitch inside in for the strike, so 1-1 the count. Weber, a sophomore from Wakulla, 6'3", 190, among 4 making it to the second team MEAC preseason. This year, of course, the last go-round for Florida A&M in the MEAC. They're going to the SWAC next season alongside Bethune-Cookman, who is not on Stetson's schedule this year. The 1-1 is popped up and out of play over the first base stands. And, of course, they're not on Stetson's schedule because BCU isn't playing baseball this year. They've opted out due to COVID, so is Maryland Eastern Shore. Only 6 MEAC teams, Kenny, are even playing baseball this year.
Yeah, and Bethune-Cookman's not playing any sports. It's the whole program.
Yeah, that's true. So they're taking a break. Are the Wildcats. The 1-2 is bounce foul towards the FAMU dugout.
And this Rattlers team is the most recent champion of the MAC because they won it back in 2019, right down the road in Jackie Robinson Park. So they're probably like Volusia County a little bit.
Yeah. One of 2 NCAA regional appearances that the Rattlers made under Jamie Shoup since he took over 8 years ago. That one ripped towards left field. That drops for a base hit. Runner rounding third, and the throw for DePonzio's cut off. And the Rattlers make a dent in the scoreboard. RBI single there for Jared Weber, and it's 3-1 Stetson.
Ripped that one down the left field line and gets the job done and pulls the Rattlers within 2 here of the Hatters as they try to keep it going with 1 out.
Sajuan Lawrence scoring from second on the play. Joseph Perini now second. Weber now first as Octavian Moyer steps in. And Nick Durgan running into a little trouble here. You didn't see this too much from Durgan last season. 1.63 ERA, 2-0 mark, 27 strikeouts on the season. One of 2 Hatters to make the Collegiate Baseball Freshman All-American list, Braden Hilton the other. Durgan's fastball in, and they're going to say it plunked Moyer in the elbow. If it did, it wasn't by much. Regardless, bases are loaded, and the Rattlers showing some threat here as LJ Bryant has a chance to step in and give FAMU the lead.
Yeah, and Moore kind of sold that a little bit. You can see him kind of change or kind of smile as he turned to take his base.
Well, hey, if you can take it, right?
Yep.
Can't fault the young man for that. Durgan with the fastball in. Right at the exactly for LJ and 0-1. Moore actually is pretty good historically at drawing hit by pitches. As Bryant lays that off, 1-1. In 2019, actually, he got plunked 24 times. The year before that, 16. The year before that, 10. So you can tell he's got quite a bit of practice at it. The 1-1, and Bryant cuts right through the fastball, 1-2. And with 1 out on the board here, I'm pretty sure in Durgan's mind he's hoping and praying for a double play somehow, some way. Hatters certainly setting up defensively for that in the infield. The 1-2. Big cut, strike 3. 4th punch out of the day for Durgan. LJ Bryant goes down by K twice now, and that's 2 outs on the board.
Yeah, and this pattern there, he felt confident after getting the strikeout the first time around and gets another one, another 2 down, and now you just need 1 more and you escape the inning with only giving up 1 run.
Yeah, but Tucker Rayburn will try to make sure that doesn't happen for FAMU, the Tallahassee Community College transfer, senior out of Mineola, one of 4 catchers on the roster for FAMU this year. And the fastball from Durgan is outside 1-0. This Rattlers team, rattling off 5 wins last year before COVID shut everything down to 10 losses. Rayburn pops that up center field. McNeil had a little bit of trouble tracking it first, but now he's got it. And Durgan gets out of it, but not before Jared Weber gets himself his first RBI single of the year. And the Rattlers crack the scoreboard. Hatters still in front, though. 3-1. You're watching Hatter Vision.
aboard at this time for a message from Florida Orthopedic Associates.
Inside us all is an athlete. On the field, the gym, the track, the court, at any age, any activity, injuries happen. If pain is keeping you from being active, turn to Florida Orthopedic Associates. We offer same or next day appointments and walk-in ortho class in one system of care. Using the latest technology and minimally invasive procedures, our experts are uniquely qualified to get you back in the game. For more than 50 years, we have provided orthopedic care in our community. Florida Orthopedic Associates is proud to be the team physicians for Stetson University and other local athletic teams.
The center fielder, number 7, Andrew McNeil.
Bottom of the third, Stetson, 3 runs on 2 hits, no errors. 1 run, 2 hit, no errors for the Rattlers. On a gorgeous day here in Melching Field. Beautiful weather. So different from last night's scheduled game, which ended up being a rain out before we could even get on the field. Andrew McNeil puts the fastball in for strike 1. Center fielder, 0 for 1 today. Grounding the first in his first at bat. And that's low. And outside there, 1-1. Cal Coleman has yet to get through an inning without giving up a run. And the righty delivers outside and high. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. McNeil last year, a .263 hitter with a double and a triple to his name. Was off to a much better start than he had been the year prior, but then, of course, COVID came. Fastball high there, 3-1 to count. McNeil, one of 9 players on the Hatters roster who's already graduated with, in his case, he's now going for an MBA. Big cut there from him. That's full count. Also should be noted in his case, the guy has a perfect GPA.
Yeah, and he's a captain, so he's kind of got it all going here.
And if memory serves, also planning on going to med school. Slightly jealous? Yes, I am. Full count. And that one's hit. Over the third base stands up and out of play. Seriously, though, good for him, man. I can only dream of getting perfect grades in school. Seriously. That's a heck of a thing to say. It's not always the easiest thing to do. Coleman one more time, and McNeil draws the walk. So he's on for the first time this year. And here comes Kyle Ball.
And Ball walked his first time up here, so we'll see how he fares at the plate here, patience-wise. The runner on.
Ball last year, a .276 hitter, started all 15 games. Hatters, of course, going 11-4 last year before COVID. Ball actually led the team in ABs with 58. Also had 3 doubles and 8 RBIs to his name. A guy that the Hatter coaches are hoping takes a real big step offensively. They believe he can. Fastball high there from Coleman, 1-0. And he's a guy who's also, in some ways, in a new position. He's starting today at shortstop, of course. Ball in his Hatters career, though, has kind of bounced around during the 2018 season that set so many records for Stetson. Ball was a player that started the year on the bench, but by the end of it, he was the starting second baseman and hit pretty well. Second base was where he should have been ideally in 2019, but then John Miola's shoulder injury happened. So Ball saw a lot of time at third base. Then, of course, came COVID. And now that John Miola moved on, the third base job is Kyle Ball's. And when we were talking with Coach Trimper last night, Kenny, he made what I would say is a bold statement, which is he feels that Kyle Ball is maybe just maybe like a step or two down from John Miola in terms of defensively. And that's saying a lot because in all the years I've covered college baseball, John Miola is the best third baseman defensively that I've ever seen.
Yeah, you gave him high praise, and you could tell that even you don't want to go. It was a bold statement. He felt like Coach Trimper maybe even wanted to say he was just behind him, and
even just behind him is pretty good. As Ball fouls that off, and not that John was terrible with the bat, but they just definitely feel Kyle can make a huge step up, and he's already a pretty decent hitter, so. He's one guy that I think is going to be very interesting to see how he progresses this season. Throw over to first. Of course, the real thing, I think, is, where are they going to end up eventually? And by they, I mean him, Olsen, and Arenas, because as of right now, it's kind of a grab bag between second, third, and short, which of those positions are going to be manned by those three guys. Today, it's Ball at shortstop. It could easily be him at third in another game. And that's definitely something that's going to be hashed out as the season goes along. Coleman's fastball there is high. A little chin music for Ball there. 2-1 the count.
Yeah, and especially when you have these weekends like this, when you have two doubleheaders, you're going to have to move around some guys.
And you're definitely going to see some guys coming off the bench more in these types of games for sure. The 2-1 is low and inside on Ball. 3-1 the count. FAMU's going to have to get used to doubleheaders this year. Talking to Coach Shute before the game, he mentioned that they've got something like 20 or 21 doubleheaders scheduled this year. That's almost entirely due to COVID.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a lot of ball clubs do something similar. There's more doubleheaders on Stetson's schedule this year than I've ever seen since I've been broadcasting their games. And that one's popped up over Hatter Hill and out of play. So full count here for Kyle Ball as he's working Coleman pretty good.
I think you see a lot of teams trying to get as many schedule games on their schedule this year because you never know.
Yeah, the actual number
miss any.
The actual number is 21 scheduled doubleheaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, and almost all those are going to be 7-inning affairs. This weekend series is a little different, though. Throw over to first. The original plan was to play 9 yesterday. Today's game to be 2 7-inning affairs, and then the 9-inning on Sunday. But with the rain out yesterday, the plan has changed a little bit. This game is going to be a 9-inning affair. Game 2 today will be a 7-inning affair. Ditto for Sunday. As Ball taps that to right field for a base hit. McNeil on his horse, and he'll go all the way to third. So that's going to make it runners on the corners for Brandon Hilton as Kyle Ball gets his first hit of the year. And a well-hit ball, too, Kenny.
Yeah, bat there, and nice appearance on the plate there, and getting runners on the corners for a guy who poked one over the right field fence his last time up.
Yeah, hook's a good way of putting it. I'm sure it's landed by now, but he hit that ball hard. I mean, Brandon Hilton is a guy who, since he's come on campus for Stetson, has been considered one of the best power bats on the Stetson roster. You didn't really see it last year, though, for him. He didn't have any homers, but he led the team with a .357 batting average and 8 RBIs. You see it in practice, though. That's where you really saw the power. And you finally saw it today with that 2-run shot in the first. As Hilton squares the bunt. Pulls back, swinging. Popped up. Foul territory. Rayburn going back, and that will rattle off the stands here at Melching Field. Caught the metal railing there. 0-1 the count. Hilton, of course, caught a little bit of help from the wind today. Wind blowing out of the north-northeast at 12 miles an hour, which by Melching Field's layout means that anything hitting the right field, it's going to get some assistance from Mother Nature. Although I think the way that Hilton hit the ball, it was probably gone regardless. He hit it pretty well. Short lead for Ball at first and McNeil at third. And Hilton lays off the 0-1 there. That's in for the strike. No 2 now on the freshman out of New Jersey. coaches are expecting will be among the team's offensive leaders when it's all said and done. A guy that is really going to be considered to be one of the main power bats for Stetson moving forward in his career. And definitely this year, although between him and Fago and Sardinius, you could flip a coin, I think, as to who's going to lead in home runs by the end of the season between those three. I'm not sure I would care to lay a bet on any one particular player at this point, though.
Yeah.
Big hole between first and second, and Hilton swings right through that one. Strike three.
Yeah, fooled Hilton there a little bit. He didn't look like too of a confident of a swing there, but runner's still in the corners here with one out.
And that's the second punch out of the day for Kyle Coleman, who's trying to get out of an inning without giving up a run. He hasn't been able to do that so far. Hilton's 2-run shot in the first, of course, was the big blow. Nick DePonzio solo homer in the bottom second was the other time. And here comes Eric Fago with one out on the board. I'll throw over to first there from Coleman. Fago last year, .316 batting average, one of three Hatters to finish the year over 300 in batting average. We mentioned Hilton, of course. The other one was Jake Murphy, a guy who will get some playing time this year, primarily as a sub, I suspect, but we'll see how that goes. Still a long season ahead of us. Pitch in for the strike, throw over to second, not in time, and Kyle Ball gets Stetson's first stolen base of the year. And I think he wasn't entirely sure that he wanted to go there, Kenny, but he made it work regardless.
Yeah, a little bit of hesitation, but got in there safely.
So that now puts two runners in scoring position here for Eric Fago with one out on the board. I think a man from South Carolina swing for the fences, although that wind is definitely not going to be to his benefit today. Anything in the left field is going to get beat down by that crosswind. He may not need it, though, as that one gets away from Rayburn, and McNeil will score from third. That ball hitting the dirt well in front of home plate. And the Hatters stretch the lead 4-1 on what I'm presuming will be a wild pitch.
Yeah, and that one was a no doubt about it. Tom Mill from third base, that one hit well, like you mentioned, hit well before the plate and took a weird hop back to the fence. Next up.
Yeah, I didn't see the official score, but I'm presuming that's a wild pitch away.
Yeah.
So Kyle Ball moves up to third on the play, and Fago foul tips that one to the backstop railing.
Coleman's battling here. He didn't start out the inning the right way with a leadoff walk that ended up costing him a run here. And you've seen a couple wild baseballs come to the plates recently here.
Yeah, officially a wild pitch was the call there. So just to be clear on that. Muse infield drawing in hopes of preventing that fifth run from crossing. The 1-2, and Fago swung right through it for strike three. Eric clearly trying to go for contact right there, and it didn't work. So 2 outs on the board and 2 punch-outs in a row for Kyle Coleman. And here comes the main transfer, Hernan Sardinius. This guy was one of Steve Trimper's recruits before he made the jump Stetson. A solid player for the Black Bears in his 4 years there. And that one fouled off. Hits off the dugout netting. 0-1 the count. Sardinius career-wise, a .286, 21 homers, over 100 RBIs. And Coleman fired that one high and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Sardinius from Miami originally. That's his hometown, but he was actually born in Cuba. Played his high school ball at Columbus High, which, of course, that's in Pipeline. As Sardinia swings right through that one, 1-2. Hatters with 5 former Explorers on the roster, including Sardinias. Chris Gonzalez, of course, another. His younger brother, Jonathan, also part of the Stetson roster this year. Danny Martin, one of the backup catchers. Jonathan Velasquez are the others this year. There's been some others, of course. The 1-2. In the dirt again, Coleman having trouble reaching that 60-foot mark, Kenny.
Yeah. I think that's maybe helped him out a little bit with the last 2 strikeouts. If he doesn't know where he's going, the batter doesn't know where it's going as well.
What do they call that? Effectively wild, I think.
Effectively wild, exactly. Yeah.
Hey, some pitchers have made a career out of it. Randy Johnson's the one that comes to mind for me. The 2-2. And that one hit down the first base line, but out of play. That'll bounce off the tarp. Hatters leading 4-1 here over Florida A&M. Stetson's managed to put up at least 1 run in every inning so far. Rattlers didn't crack the scoreboard until the top of the 3rd, though. Well, they've definitely dug themselves a hole. The 2-2. And Sardinia swings through it for strike 3. So 1 run was all Stetson could get there on a wild pitch that plated Andrew McNeil. And in the top of the 4th, it'll be Stetson 4, Rattlers 1 when we come back on Hatter Vision. Top of the 4th, Stetson 4, Florida A&M 1. Alongside King Scherlinger, I'm Assad Bendion. Thank you for joining us. As we start off the top of the 4th here with Tristan Cooper, the 3rd baseman. 5, 6, and 7 due up here for the Rattlers. Evan Johnson, Juan Lawrence behind him. And the count now 1 strike. Nick Durgan rattled off 2 pristine innings to start this game off. Ran into a little trouble last time up. Cooper hits that towards 3rd, plucked by Olsen. And the Hartford transfer with a nice play there for out number 1. He made that look easy, Kenny.
He certainly did. And that one looked effortless. And
it was not. That was a hard play.
Yeah, made it look effortless.
Of course, Olsen in his time at Hartford played a lot of shortstop, middle infield type player. A guy who could easily play short for Stetson and probably will at some point this year. Johnson swings to that first offering, 0-1. Johnson's 0 for 1 today. Grounding out to the catcher officially in his last at bat. Really a dribbler in front of home plate that Pregent picked up and threw it first. And the junior lefty quickly now down 0-2. One of only 2 lefties in the lineup today for Jamie Shoup's squad. And he's down swinging for strike 3. And give Nick Durgan 5 punch-outs in this contest. 2 outs on the board.
Now batting the center fielder, number 6.
Sharp-looking inning so far here for Nick Durgan up there on the mound.
Yeah, definitely looking more like his first 2 innings than The last one in the third where FAMU sent up 7 batters and managed to get a run eventually on an RBI single by Jared Weber. Lawrence hits that hard towards short. Gathered up by Ball on one bounce. Side retired. Easy as you like. 4 innings pitched for Nick Durgan. 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Stetson 4, Florida A&M 1. You're watching Hatter Vision.
Hatters fans, Bud Light is proud to be the official beer of Stetson University. Making friends is Bud Light's business. Part of this, Bud Light wants to remind everyone that choosing a designated driver is what friends do. Light, Daytona Beverages, and Stetson University thanks everyone for making a responsible choice in choosing a designated driver.
Leading off the inning, rear hatter, left fielder, number 11, Nick Ponzio.
6, 7, and 8 due up for Steve Trimper's ball club as we enter the bottom of the 4th. Hatters with a 3-run lead over the Rattlers. Nick DePonzio, Christian Pregent, Jackson Olsen. Due up for Stetson here. DePonzio fouls that one off. I think it might have caught Tucker Rayburn's face mask there. He's a little bit of pain, the FAMU catcher. Ponzio 1 for 1 today. Solo homer for him in the bottom of the 2nd. A shot in the right field that definitely got some assistance from Mother Nature. The wind helping to carry that one just over the fence. His first homer as a Stetson Hatter. Had 3 during his career at Wake Forest. Coleman fires that high. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. DePonzio last year, a guy who saw quite a bit of playing time, more than I think was expected, but he certainly made the most of it as that one's hit into center field, a short one. Juan Lawrence is there, though, and DePonzio's retired for the first time in 2021. 1 out on the board.
It's got a little bit under that one, and looked like it was going to be trouble for a second, but the center fielder, Lawrence, got under it, retires the first out.
Sometimes the winds at Melching can be a little tricky, especially on really high pop-ups like that. Of course, it's also the first game of the year, so there's that whole just getting your legs back under you type of thing, too. So that can't discount that. Christian Pregent steps in. And the catcher fouls that away. Tapper towards the FAMU dugout, actually straight towards FAMU head coach Jamie Shoup. 0-1 the count. Another thing that you should note, too, not much cloud cover today, so sun is definitely nice and bright, even though the temps are not all that hot, only 64 degrees at first pitch. That's fouled up and out of play again. Point is, for the outfielders, this is definitely a shades kind of day.
Yeah, absolutely. They got to have the shades down.
Preach it down the hole here early, 0-2. Rayburn sets up outside. Way outside. It's almost in the left-handed hitting batter's box there.
Yeah.
1-2. Obvious junk pitch there that Pregent laid off. A guy who will likely get the lion's share of star plate that's in this year. You will see the occasional Giovanni Lorenzo sighting, though, especially on these doubleheader type of weekends. Wouldn't surprise me if Gio is the starter in Game 2 for that reason alone. Stetson with 4 catchers, actually, that have game experience. Nick Cardieri was the number 1 catcher for a good chunk of 2018 and 2019. That one hit hard by Prejet, tailing, and that one hits in the warning track just in front of the 335 sign. And Prejet will coast in the second for a double. Tag that ball hard, Kenny. If it had a little bit more of an upward trajectory game.
And he hit that perfectly because it was curving away from the right fielder out there and just got down. And, yeah, if you needed a little bit more oomph on that one, it might have squeaked over the wall, but it's a stand-up double there for Christian Prejean.
Yeah, angle just wasn't correct, I think, too, but he definitely caught that nicely. He hit it pretty hard considering he caught it off the end of the bat.
Yeah, and that's why you kind of saw it tailing off a little bit, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He didn't barrel that one up all the way. That one definitely caught the end, but regardless. Jackson Olsen now steps in, the former Hartford Hawk. Lays that one off. 1-0 the count. Olsen, a mainstay for Hartford in 2018 when they made the NCAA tournament and ended up in a regional right here at Melching Field playing against the Stetson Hatters. A game that Hartford would lose. They would eventually go 2-Q in that one. Olsen taps that between first and second. That's another base hit. Tripper will hold up Prejean at third. And the Hatters going a little station to station here with the bottom of the order. And here comes a guy that we've often called Mr. I'm trying to think of the exact term that Evan Weston likes to use. Mr. Risp. That's it. Mr. Risp. Jorge Arenas, the number 9 hitter, steps in. A guy who has actually led Stetson twice in runs batted in a season. So he's good in this situation is Jorge Arenas. And he's got a chance to show it here. Christian Prejean at third and Jackson Olsen at first. Haven't seen any action in the Rattlers' pen yet, although I don't think we're too far away from it. If this keeps going the way Stetson hopes it does. Coleman, to his credit, managed to get out of a sticky spot last time up. He's going to need to do it again here. That one tapped towards second. Gathered up by Moyer. Throw over to second for one. Throw to first. Double play. And the Rattlers are out of it. 4-6-3. A pitch best friend. Kyle Coleman can personally attest to that. So for the first time in this game, Hatters are retired without scoring a run. We head to the top of the fifth. Hatters up 3. You're watching Hatter Vision.
Geico offers a special discount on car insurance to Stetson alumni. Just visit Geico.com and get a free quote. And select Stetson alum to see how much you could save. Don't drop the ball when it comes to saving money. Contact Geico today.
Fifth here at Melching Field. Hatters 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors. Rattlers 1, 2, and 0 respectively. with Kenny Scherlinger alongside. I know I said that wrong. I'm sorry. Assad Bendian. We should also mention some of the other people who helped make Hatter Vision happen for us on the baseball side. Brant Hoynoski, the guy who's keeping us focused. Maggie Hessler, our producer today. And, of course, thanks to all of you for listening in and watching us, of course. Joseph Perini starting off this inning for FAMU. Count now 1 ball, 1 strike. Preaton sets up outside, and Perini fouls that up and out of play. That's over at base. Perini 1 for 1 in this game. The freshman getting his first hit as a Rattler in the third. Eventually stranded at third in that frame. A guy that Shoop was telling me before the game will get a lot of playing time for Florida A&M this year. That one's a popper. Foul territory, third base side. Easy one for Jackson Olsen. 1 out on the board. Second time this game that Olsen's caught a popper in foul territory. And here comes Robert Robinson, the bottom of the order here for Florida A&M. Cycle back up to the top with Jared Weir, who's now on deck. Robinson 0 for 1 in this game. He got punched out in his only at-bat in the third. 1 of 5 in this contest for Durgan. And he fires that fastball low, 1-1. Durgan, like a lot of Stetson pitchers, tends to work quickly. That's a hallmark of Dave Thurno. He loves to see his pitchers work fast, especially his starters. 2-1 the count as that pitch is low. And that's fouled up and out of play. Durgan, a guy who throws 3 different pitches. I'd say of those, his fastball's the best right now, but really a complete pitcher in a lot of ways. He's a guy who I think can be a really good one. And you can see it right there. That one in for strike 3, and that's his 6th punch out of this game. What's on the board?
Hey, he's starting to rack him up here at the halfway point.
You saw that a lot last year with Durgan in the starts. He definitely has a habit of getting them in bunches when he's rolling. Jared Weaver steps in. He's the guy with the RBI single. That is FAMU's only run right now. 1 for 2 in this game. He punched out back in the first.
Durgan's got to strike out every inning, except for the one inning he went 1-2-3 without one. So can't complain about that.
Fastball high, they're 0-2. Durgan's also had 3 1-2-3 innings in this contest.
Yeah.
And he's 1 strikeout away from a 4th. He'll need to throw at least 1 more. That fastball's outside. Weber, a guy with a pretty good eye. Near the 400 batting average last year for Florida A&M. The eye didn't help him there, though. Strike 3. Durgan with 7 punch-outs in this game. And another 1-2-3 inning for the freshman from Melbourne. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Hatters in control, up 3 over Florida A&M. You're watching Hatter.
Florida Public Utilities is your local trusted energy provider, committed to helping you conserve energy, save money, and enjoy the highest level of comfort. Let's turn the door now for a brief message.
Ask for gas. Ask for gourmet meals. Ask for endless hot water. And driving times. Ask for natural gas. Ask for appliances. Last longer. Ask for more comfort. For higher return on your home's value. Ask for hurricane ready. For hot meals, hot showers, and a
Leading off the bottom of the fifth for your Hatters, the center fielder number 7, Andrew McNeil.
So for the third time in this game, Andrew will lead off inning for Stetson as we enter the bottom of the fifth. Hatters 4, Rattlers 1. First pitch swinging for McNeil, rips that right over the tarp to Hatter Hill, 0-1 the count. Stetson so far in this game has engaged in a bit of an interesting pattern. 5 batters coming up in the first and in the third, 4 in the second and in the fourth. And that one fired outside, just misses. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. McNeil still looking for his first hit this year. Grounding out to first base in his first at-bat. Walked last time and scored a run. And now he's down 1 ball and 2 strikes. McNeil plating himself after a wild pitch in the third, which makes up Stetson's last run in this game. For now, that is. Rayburn sets up inside, and McNeil will hit Oppo and out of play. That one actually bouncing into the FAMU pen, which is pretty active right now, Kenny. I see at least one guy warming up.
Yeah, and we've seen a little bit of wild stuff on the mounds. It's kind of only a matter of time before you see some Rattlers up there in the pen.
Well, Coleman's also on a pitch count, so
Yeah.
there's that too. Shoop telling me before the game he's only going to throw about 90 regardless, and that one hit McNeil right in the shoulder. That's an ice pack right there. And McNeil reaching on a hit by pitch. So he adds to his career mark there, Kenny. McNeil among Stetson's leaders all time in getting plunked. That is number 34, if my memory serves. Yep, number 34. He is third in Stetson history. And I don't know if it's a category that you want to be number 1 in, but he's got a ways to go before he gets to that mark. The record holder there is actually Patrick Mazika, 48 in his case. Coleman gets the strike there on ball. 1 the count. Though you know it's a long season. And so he'd need about 14, I guess 15 more hit by pitches. Doable. It's definitely doable.
Yeah, you got a lot of games coming up.
McNeil stretches the lead out. Ball hits that hard into right field. Bryant backing up. That one over his head and over the wall. Home run Stetson. The third of the game and the first for Kyle Ball.
2-run shot over that right field fence again. That one a little bit more of a line drive and just squeaking over, but you'll take it. And the Hatters up big now, 6-1.
Wow, I can't remember the last time we've seen Stetson hit 3 homers in a game at home. It's definitely been a while. I'm sure it's happened recently. I just can't remember offhand, but I guess it kind of goes to show that this year's ball club, Kenny, is going to be differently than what we did in recent years, especially in terms of the power. I know today you've got that wind, which is certainly helping things out. All 3 of the homers have been the right field. And here's a guy who's had one of them, Brandon Hilton.
Yeah, and Steve Tripper talked about before this season how his program was good pitching, but he feels that this team also has a lot of power and can get into some slugfest this year.
Coleman fires that one, and that one's out of the glove of Rayburn. It's a ball regardless, so 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Coleman, a guy who's been among Florida A&M's best pitchers, but he has had trouble with the gopher ball in his career. As that one's fouled out of play, 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. To kind of put it into perspective, Kenny, last year before COVID shut everything down, Coleman had 4 starts and he gave up 3 homers total. He's already given up 3 today. The 1-2 is popped up, and that one right That one bounces off the facade there in front of the press box. So the count now 1-2. Coleman, a guy who's expected to be among the best in the MEAC, though, among 4 Rattlers on the MEAC second team. Count now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rayburn looking for the signs from his coaching staff in the dugout. And Hilton fouls that one off again. That one off the backstop netting. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Hilton hits that one in the center, actually. Save Juan Lawrence right in front of the DeGrom banner. And that's the first out of the inning here. And Hilton now 1 for 3 on the day as Eric Fago Coleman's first pitch missing outside, 1-0. And Fago will hit that. A blooper towards center, and it drops. So Eric Fago with his first hit of the year. The big South Carolinian on with a single. And here comes Hernan Sardinas, a guy that will see time for Stetson primarily at first base, but he is also an outfielder. He saw time as a right fielder for Maine the last 2 seasons. You'll see him in right sometimes. You could even see him in left sometimes if the matchup presents itself. Coach Trimper telling me that in smaller ballparks in particular is where you might see that type of a thing. So maybe not so much at Melching, but on the road, a place like UCF, which has a small park, you could see something like that. And Kyle Coleman's day is done. Jamie Shoup goes to the pen. So a new pitcher, we'll let you know who it is back. Hatters up by 5. You're watching Hatter Vision. We resume play here. Bottom of the fifth. Morgan Mendez, the new hurler up for Florida A&M. As he'll face Hernan Sardinius here, and he gets started off with a strike. Morgan Mendez, a redshirt junior out of Wellington. Palm Beach State College transfer. Right-handed thrower who saw a little bit of action last year for the Rattlers. 6.55 ERA in 6 games pitched, all in relief. Sardinius swings through the fastball there, 0-2. Mendez, a guy that Coach Troop had pointed out to me before the game started today, a guy that he expects will get a fair amount of relief work for Florida A&M this year. Short lead for Fago on first, and the 0-2 is high. 1-2 the count. Stetson is 38-5 all time against Florida A&M, well on their way to number 39 with the way this game has gone. FAMU trying to control the bleeding here. And the 1-2 misses inside on Sardinius. 2-2 to count. Hernan in this game is 0 for 2. Grounded out to short to end the first. K to end the third. Another throw over to first. Fago not exactly a threat to run. Although he does have a couple bags still thinking here at Stetson, if my memory serves. He's actually 4 out of 5 in his career.
Count runs full.
Yep. 3-2 now, so Sardinius working the count here on Mendez. Still more action in the FAMU pen, the lefty one up. That is a dirt ball 4. So Sardinius reaching on the walk. And that puts 2 on board here for Nick DePonzio, who, we've seen 3 Stetson homers in this game because one of them.
He was the second of the game for the Hatters, and all to right field. As the Hatters taking advantage of that jet stream a little bit with the wind blowing out.
Boy,
looks
have
like
they
it's
ever.
lighting up just a tad, but about 11 miles an hour out to right field.
Yeah, that wind's definitely played a factor in this game. I don't think the DePonzio shot would have left the park without that wind. I'm not sure Balls would have either, although I think Kyle got more of it than Nick did. Regardless, a homer's a homer. And DePonzio with a great chance here to do some more damage. That's popped up, though, in the infield. The catcher, Rayburn's got it. And that's the second out of the inning. So one pitch was all it took to take down DePonzio. And now Christian Pregent, with 2 outs on the board, will have his chance to stretch the lead. Pregent in this game, 1 for 2. Double in the fourth, eventually stranded at third. Cade to start the year in the second. Pregent, one of 5 captains on the Stetson roster. Rare enough, of course, but even rarer for a freshman in his case. He was also captain last year as a true freshman. As Mendez spins that outside, 1-0.
Pregent is up, took one off the end of the bat, but had a stand-up double out of it. Tailed from the right fielder for FAMU.
He does something similar. That's going to plate at least 1. Mendez fires that outside corner for the strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. That'll have to be a heck of a shot to plate Sardinius from first. He's not a guy who's blessed with speed. Anything in the outfield should plate Fago, though. He definitely has enough wheels for that.
Mm-hmm.
The 1-1. Low. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Pregent last year, finishing the year just under the Mendoza line, 196 to be precise, 1 homer, 5 RBIs. Also saw some summer ball with the DeLand Suns. This year, finishing summer ball with a 340 batting average. So it's definitely shown some improvement at the plate, as that one is high now. 3 balls, 1 strike to count. Preaching also a guy who the coaches say has sneaky power. Probably won't be a bombs away kind of guy, but, you might see him finish the year with 2 or 3 or 4 homers, just depending on how things go. Melching Field not exactly conducive to a lot of homers, though, especially for right-handed hitters. The 3-1.
Ooh.
And that's in for the strike. Preaching thought it was ball 4. Chris Tipton says, no, sir. Come back in. Definitely on the edge there. So 2 outs. Fogdekin and Sardinius at first. Mendez setting up first base side of the rubber. And miss for Preagent's eye paying off there, and it's bases for Jackson Olsen.
Yeah, that one just a little bit more outside that time, enough to get the ball 4 call and load up the bases. Ducks on the pond here for Jackson Olsen.
Second walk already for Mendez since coming in to replace Kyle Coleman. And Jackson Olsen, lefty bat, 1 of 5 in the lineup today for Steve Trimper's ball club. He's got a chance to really stretch this lead out. He ducks out of the way of that high and tight fastball, 1-0. And here comes Jamie Shoup again. And I think we're going to see, we're going to the pen. Mendez is done. And I think now I'm pretty sure you're going to see that we saw a lefty warming up in the pen, and my guess is that's what you're going to see here. Fifth, another pitching change for Florida A&M. It's Sean Host, the big lefty out of Beverly Hills, Florida, not California. 6'6", 230. One of 3 lefties on the Rattlers roster. And he's coming in a real big spot. He's loaded, 2 outs on the board. And he's facing the lefty Jackson Olsen. First pitch in the dirt, though. And the count now 2-0 after Mendez put Host in a hole before he got lifted. Thanks for those of you watching us on Hatter Vision today. One day for the Hatters. They're doing 2 here at Melching. Game 1 right now, a 9-inning affair. As host fires the strike in, 2-1. Game 2 will start around 45 minutes after this ends, and that'll be an inning affair. Same thing for the inning followed by 7. 2-1. Misses outside, 3-1. And I think that right there was probably why you saw Coleman have as much rope as he did early on, Kenny. I'm pretty sure the Rattler coaches did not want to have to go to the pen this early in Game 1 of a 4-game series over the next 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 3-1, and Olsen fouls that up and out of play. And if my broadcast partner had arms like Stretch Armstrong, you could have caught that. That wasn't too far from you.
No. Glass
would
have been a problem, too.
Oh, that's it, yeah. Better you than me, sir. I guess realistically, I'm the one who would get it since I have the cracked window.
Yeah.
The 3. Olsen fouls another one off, and that one catches the top of that netting. Which is hands down one of my favorite things here at Melching Field. I love that netting. Full count here. 2 outs on the board. Runners are going, and Olsen fouls it off again. That one tailing into the parking lot. Dangerously close to where I parked my car, actually. Hey, don't laugh. That actually happened to me one year.
Yeah, I try to stay away from that left field line.
You can check to believe me. I actually posted a photo of it.
Yeah.
Got base shield. Full count, and strike 3 called. Host gets out of it. Jackson Olsen thought it was 4. Chris Timpton, the home plate up, says no. And the Rattlers. But the Hatters did get 2 runs in that frame. Kyle Ball doing the damage with Stetson's 3rd homer of the game. And we head to the top of the 6th. The Hatters in 6-1. You're watching Hatter Vision.
Licensed tees, sweats, hoodies, and more. Go to www.shopgohatters.com, where all your Hatters gear is just a click away. Visit shopgohatters.com today. And when you come to campus, make sure to visit the Stetson Brick Store for all the best Stetson gear and memorabilia. This located ground floor of the Carlton Union Building in the heart of the DeLand campus.
2, 3, and 4 for Jamie Shoup's ball club as we head into the top of the 6th. Stetson with a 5-run lead over Florida A&M. Opening day for both squads in this 2021 season as Octavian Moyer fouls that off to the backstop padding, 0-1. Even though this is opening weekend for college baseball, you'd be forgiven if you saw the scoreboard and thought otherwise. As Durgan fires that in for the strike on Moyer, 0-2. A lot of schools having their games canceled this weekend because of all the severe weather, especially in the Midwest and the South. As Moyer sends that smoking off the mound and in the center base hit, and that's FAMU's 3rd in this game, and their 1st since the 3rd.
If you're going to get it going now, you're going to have to get it going here with a 5-run deficit.
Yeah, you would think if FAMU's going to claw their way back in, this is probably a good spot to do it in. As L.J. Bryant fouls that off to the backstop padding, 0-1. Durgan's got to be getting close to the end of his pitch count here. He's probably not that far from it. I don't have the exact pitch count number, but, I mean, I can't imagine we're going to see him go more than 90 pitches, if that. Probably less, I'd say. The 0-1, and Bryant swings right through that for strike 2.
Yeah, nobody up in the pen, but there's a lot of movement over there, so maybe shortly we'll see somebody up.
Yeah, I think we'll see somebody warming up sooner rather than later. Although I'm sure they would like to get Nick at least 5 or 6 just because of the fact that we're playing 4 games in 2 days. Check swing appeal.
Said he went.
Yep. So that's a punch out. That is 8th of the game for Durgan. And we have one out on the board here for Tuckle Rayburn. Rayburn, one of the few Rattlers who's not gone down by K today. His case, pop outs to center field both times in the second and in the third, respectively. Trying to bunt his way on here. Wasn't able to. Did technically swing, though, so strike 1. Plenty of action now in the Stetson pen. There's a lot of movement, as Kenny mentioned. Definitely a couple of guys warming up. I see at least one lefty. The 0-1, and Rayburn foul tips that to the backstop padding, 0-2. Looks like Nick Cesari is one of the ones warming up. Guy who's had to battle a lot of injuries to get to this point. Fastball high. He's basically lost 2 years of his Stetson career due to injuries. And he's a guy that they would love to see him become a established reliever out of the pen, lefty specialist type. Rayburn pops that up towards the FAMU dugout. Might be playable for Preach, and it is! With a little bit of an assist from the dugout fencing there, Preach grabbed it with his free hand before snagging it for out number 2. That was a challenging play there, Kenny. There's not a lot of space there.
No, not at all. And then you got to step around the fence there.
I mean, JB Shoop is having a convo with the ump there on that. That's definitely in playable territory.
Yeah.
So that's not the question. Although you did see Preach grab the fence with his bare hand before catching it, but I mean, as far as I know, that's perfectly fine. You can do that. So not happy about something, though.
And you do have the white lines down there, so that might be what.
Not that, but
oh shoot, might be talking about here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the argument would have been there.
If he's saying that's an extended part of the dugout, maybe. Well, yeah.
I mean, but still, it's still in playable territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's not even. I don't know what the argument could have been there. Regardless, Cooper's up. And he fouls that one off. 0-1 the count. Still a heck of a play from Preach, though. I mean, that is a difficult move for a catcher. There's quite a bit of foul territory behind the plate, too, here at Melching. So he had to run a long way for that with all that gear on. And Cooper fouls that off the netting, 0-2. Tristan Cooper Jr. plays the hot corner for FAMU. And then 0-2, grounding out both times to his counterpart in the hot corner, Jackson Olsen. Durgan fires that low. 1-2 to count. Nick Durgan taking a long time here. Fires inside and just missed it there. Count now 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's been a comfortable start for Durgan for the most part. As Cooper fouls that off, and that'll go towards the FAMU dugout. Other than that one run he gave in the top of the third, it's been smooth sailing for him, Kenny. He's had 4 1-2-3 innings in this game. The thirdly, the only exception.
Yeah, and he's had the run support, so that's also a plus when you're sitting there. See whacking it over the fence.
Definitely not something Stetson pitchers have been used to in recent years. Of course, they've been so good, they really haven't needed it for the most part. Preaching sets up outside, the 2-2 in the dirt. So a full count here on Cooper, who was definitely one of the better Rattlers in 2020 before COVID took everything down. 327 hitter, 1 triple, 7 RBIs. The 3-2 is fouled up and out of play as Octavian Moyer was going there from first. FAMU last year winning only 5 games. They did have a sweep of Dayton, and their other 2 wins were against USF, a team that Stetson will see a lot of this year. You could say that about almost any Florida school, really, as Cooper fouls that up and out of play. If you look at the Stetson schedule this year, definitely an unusual one from years past. You usually see a fair sprinkling of northern teams here. Outside of a trip to Alabama and a trip to Kennesaw State, Stetson's not going to leave the state of Florida all year. Not even for ASUN play, other than the Kennesaw State one, that is. Full count again, and once again, Cooper fouling. Seeing a good old-fashioned battle here, Kenny.
Yeah, lots of fouls, and this Rattler team trying not to leave anything left in this inning. Chip away.
Stetson, after this series, goes right across I-4 to play Central Florida, and then back at home next weekend for a 4-gamer against North Alabama. And Cooper wins the battle. The fastball misses inside, and Cooper draws the walk. So that puts runners at first and second here for Evan Johnson, the first baseman.
And that was a great at-bat there for Cooper, and why he's the first-team All-MEAC this year for the Rattlers.
Yep, the only one on the Rattlers roster who can say that. 4 others on the second team. Here comes Dave Thurno. So we've got 2 pitchers in the pen for Stetson. I think Durgan's done. That looks like Cesari coming in, if my eyes don't deceive me. No motion to the pen yet, though, so we've got a righty warming up as well. And it looks like Danny Garcia to me, but kind of hard for us to tell from our angle.
And there's a signal right there.
Yep, so that's it for Durgan. He's done. Maybe not exactly the way he would have wanted it, but pretty good start to 2021 for the freshman from Melbourne. 1 run across so far for FAMU, but there's definitely some mess to clean up on the base paths. And it's going to be Nick Cesari who will be called on to clean it up. Hatters 6, Rattlers 1. You're watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now pitching for the Stetson Hatters, number 30, Nick Cesari.
New pitcher in the game for Stetson here in the top of the 6th. New batter for Florida A&M as well. Nick Cesari stepping in for Stetson. Last time we saw him was in 2019. Sat out all last year with Tommy John surgery. Grant Rowell, the pinch hitter for Florida A&M, as he steps in for Evan Johnson, the first baseman. Jamie Shoup clearly trying to avoid the lefty situation. Cesari fires outside, and the appeal to first is denied. Rowell, a junior from Chipley, 6'3", 185, transfer from Coastal Alabama Community College. A few others on the FAMU roster can make the same claim. The 1-0 is fouled away by Rowell.
Grant Rowell pitches in the number 6 position.
Rowell, technically an outfielder, actually a two-way guy. He also is a pitcher, so I'm guessing we're going to see some defensive changes since Johnson was playing first. We'll find that out later, of course, as Cesari fires the fastball high. 2-1 the count. Cesari, a redshirt sophomore from New York. One of 4 from the Empire State on the roster for Stetson. And Rowell hits left field. DePonzio on the run towards the fence, and that'll drift over the fence and foul. Get a bit of a ride, but that's I suspect the wind really did a nice job beating that one down. That was a pretty well hit ball.
Yeah, it was. It was just short of maybe home run distance, but yeah, like that wind kept it in check.
Cesari in 2019, a 3.6 ERA, 1-0 record. That one win coming against Siena. The fastball inside. And some of the Hatter fans that are in the stands not liking it too much. Now full on Rowell. Games this weekend, not open to the public, but friends and family are being allowed in. So that's the crowd that you're hearing. Full count, and that misses low. So Rowell draws the walk, and we've voted for Saywan Lawrence.
Now batting the center fielder, number 6, Saywan Lawrence.
So that puts Moyer at third, Cooper at second, and now Rowell at first. Cesari tries to get out of the jam. Fires in for the strike, 0-1. Cesari's a guy that the Hatter coaches hope will be a reliable option for them out of the pen here, especially as a lefty specialist. Lawrence swings right through that one for strike 2.
Yeah, big cut and miss here. Lawrence love to try to get it done, and the Hatters like to say the opposite.
Cesari won't often be the first option out of the pen, though, unless they're trying to get a lefty-lefty matchup. The 0-2. Inside, strike 3! Saywan Lawrence down looking, and the Hatters are out of the jam. Cesari with a little bit of trouble, but he gets it done, and the first one to greet him is Nick Durgan. Hey, I'm sure he appreciates it. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Hatters 6, Rattlers 1. You're watching Hatter Vision.
So the Hatters escaping some trouble there, leaving the bases empty, or leaving the bases loaded there for FAMU, and they lead it 6-1 here in the bottom of the sixth. And that's going to bring up Jorge Arenas, who hasn't had the easiest time at the plate here, grounding into 2 double play balls first 2 times. Stepping in the batter's box here and change that. So he takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, Arenas 6-3 double play in the second, 6-4-3 in the fourth. That won't happen here no matter what. Nice benefit of being a leadoff hitter, I guess.
Sean Ho still in there on the mound for FAMU as he fires in that second pitch for a called ball. That one's a little bit too high, 2-0.
And by the way, since you mentioned the bases loaded thing, second time in this game that Florida A&M has left the bags full in an inning. And that's definitely the kind of thing that causes heartburn for coaches.
That one's tapped right back at the mound. Host is going to field it, fire down the first, and a little bit of hesitation there, but they get the first out.
He wanted to make sure he had that right.
Yeah.
That's not an easy angle, especially for a lefty. Although it's a little better for a lefty than a righty, because a lot of times you see a righty make that throw and, you know, the runner ends up with a nice big bruise on his back. Arenas won't have that, though. He'll just have to sit down as he's returned.
And Brow of that one at first base after he pinched hit there for FAMU, coming in for Evan Johnson, so he replaces him on the first bag for the Rattlers. So that's going to bring us to the top of the order here. Andrew McNeil steps into the left-handed batters, takes the first pitch, call for a strike. Host gets ahead in the count this time around. McNeil's reached 2 times. Hit by a pitch, I'm up, and also reached on a walk and scored a wild pitch in the 3rd inning. So he takes all first strike again, 0-2 now. With 1 out, that's 6-1. As that one plunks McNeil, this time in the shoulder.
Same spot where he got hit last time.
Yeah.
Same exact spot. And his assault on the record books continues.
Yeah, what's that?
35.
Yeah. So
35 now.
I think you said 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Catch.
Patrick McZika leads all time with 48. And now McNeil has 35, so do them at 13.
Yeah,
so now he needs 13 to tie the record. And at this pace, he's going to tie it, by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Which means that, well, maybe you should invest in some ice packs. That is not a fun stat to be a leader in. It's just not.
No, and every team really kind of has that one guy that is prone to do it. Some guys make careers out of it. As that first pitch to Kyle Ball is called for a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, in FAMU's case, Octavian Moyer, he had one earlier. He's made a habit of that in his career, too. Some guys know how to draw it. I mean, there's a skill to it. It's not just blind luck. I mean, you know, you see guys that, you know, the ones that usually crouch over the plate, the ones that are always as close to that white line as you can possibly get near the plate.
The 1-1 pitch, runner go. And in there safely is McNeil, as that one is able to be gloved by Russell. Stop, and a nice swipe bag there for Andrew McNeil as he moves over to the second base.
And that's the second one in this game. Kyle Ball had one in the third. And McNeil, not a guy who's going to swipe a lot of bags. His spot in the leadoff is because he's so good at getting on base. Obviously, it's being one way of doing it. But still, McNeil's got wheels. He can definitely swipe bags.
A 2-2 fired in there for a strike by Sean Host. Kyle Ball, one of the Hatters with a homer this afternoon. He had a 2-run shot back in the 5th.
Just to kind of give you an idea, in 2019, Andrew was leading stolen base attempts. He was second on the team, actually, in that mark.
As McNeil gets in there, back to second base.
That year, Jacob Coos actually led the team, 21 of 28. And Coos was definitely a guy who knew how to steal bags. He was very good at that particular stat. So they haven't really needed Andrew to run a lot. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him run more as this year goes along.
The 2-2 is fired right back at the mound, and glove there by Robertson. He tries to turn and go to first, and a nice glove there by Rowell. But the runner moves over for Stetson. 2 out now, As you'll take that, you move the runner over to the third base. That one almost got through. It was a tough play there.
Yeah, Robinson made a heck of a play defensively. That's not an easy play for a shortstop. I mean, in some ways, that might have been an easier play for the second baseman, but obviously the way that they had planned that out, it was Robinson's ball all the way. Nice turn at the bag to make the throw, and a good pick from Rowell, too. That's not easy.
Yeah, especially that's your first inning at first base as well, so you shake off the rust quickly there.
For sure.
As Brandon Hilton takes the first pitch from Sean Host for a called strike, 0-1, 2 outs, runners, only one runner here for Stetson and 90 feet away.
And Hilton, of course, got the party started in the first with that 2-run bomb.
He holds off on that one outside. 1-1 now the count goes to.
I think the what intrigues me the most about Hilton is that he's going to be a power guy, of course, but he's also going to be a high average guy. And that's, I think, going to be an exciting thing to watch as the year goes along.
That one's fired in for a strike.
Last year, of course, the 357 BA before COVID shut everything down. We know the power's always been there. It just hasn't manifested until today, anyway, in a game.
Yeah, he gets his first homer of his college career as a Hatter today. That one's popped up in the shallow left field. Back is the shortstop Robertson, and he's going to make the play in shallow left field, and that's going to end the inning as the Hatters strand one as we head to the 7th inning here at Melching. Hatters lead it 6-1. You're watching Hattervision.
No runs, no hits, no errors, and one left to board. We have played 6 complete innings with your score Stetson 6. A&M 1.
Top of the 7th inning here at Melching Field. Step to 1. Sheryl's out here alongside with you. As the Hatters opening up the season here in 20. As that first pitch from Cesare is fired in there for a called ball. Up at the plate here for FAMU, Joseph Perini, the freshman DH. 1 for 2 this afternoon as he takes that one for a called strike as Cesare evens up the count.
Perini, one of the freshmen that Coach Shoup had pointed out to me before the game as a guy that he thinks will get a lot of run this year.
As he backs away from that one, but somebody called for a ball. 2-1.
Florida A&M returning 15 with 15 new guys on the roster this year. Most of those freshmen, like Perini, 10 of them to be precise. 4 JUCO transfers too.
As that one's just right at the shortstop ball, as that one eats him up a little bit and gets into left field, and a single here for Joseph and the Rattlers.
Well hit ball there from Perini. That one right at Ball's feet would have been a play. I don't care who you're called. It's right at your feet. I mean, Your only hope really is just put your glove down and hope it bounces into the glove, because that's really the only way, and it just didn't happen that time.
So that's going to bring up Robert Robertson, who had a busy inning in the infield. He takes that one for a call. Ball 1-0. Swing and a miss there for Robinson. Even up the count at 1-1 for Cesare, rather.
He's had a winding road, has Nick Cesare. Injuries have been an issue for him. He's basically lost 2 years of his career due to injuries. Back in 2017, he went to UConn, where he redshirted. Then transferred out to Miami-Dade College in 2018, went the JUCO route, and then came to Stetson in 2019.
Check swing there, but it doesn't matter anyways. That one caught the inside corner of the plate, 1-2.
In JUCO, actually, he was a starter for the Miami-Dade College Sharks. 7 games. Also saw some time in relief, had a 4.18 ERA. So he showed some ability there.
That one's up and away. 2-2.
And then 2019, he was primarily a relief guy. He had 4 appearances, all in relief, with a 3.86 ERA and a 1-0 record, and then lost all last year because of Tommy John.
That one's fouled over the hitting pavilion over there. 2-2, the count still. 0 out, no outs here. Runner on first base for the Rattlers. That's Joseph Perini, who had a leadoff single. 6-1, the Hatters lead it. One inch inside of the plate. First strikeout of the afternoon here for Cesare.
Yep, and the third Robinson's been punched out. First time looking. If the bleacher creatures were here, we'd see a lot of K signs over the third base dugout.
So that's going to bring up Jarrett Weber here for FAMU.
Now Stetson in this contest, in case you're counting.
One away from the double figures mark.
No, I'm sorry. 10.
10,
That
yeah,
was the 10th K. I counted wrong. It's 10.
One's a little bit high. 1-0.
Well, that's definitely been a theme Stetson since Dave Thurno's been the pitching coach here. Ks. I know 2018 when the single season K mark was set, I want to say. But I mean, almost every year it's been north of 500 for quite a few years now.
Weber, the left fielder, second team all. That one's a big cut in the miss there. 1-2 now.
Well, you obviously know his shoes are tied tightly.
Yeah.
He would have swung out of them otherwise. That was about as much as you could put on it.
He struck out 2 times this afternoon. And that one is almost another strikeout, but he gets a piece of that. It's back into the netting, keeping him alive.
That's the kind of swing that I think coach go, okay, son, we're down by 5 runs. We're not getting it all back on one swing.
Yeah.
But I mean, FAMU's running out of chances to get back in this game. There's only so many outs left to give.
The 1-2. That one's driven into deep left field. Going back at the track and looking over the fence is DePonzio, and a 2-run shot there for Jared Weber. And that was a home run swing once again there, and that time he got all first homer over the left field wall this afternoon. First one for the Rattlers.
And to put it into context for you, he hit that wind 10 miles an hour plus. That was a well hit. That's probably the most well hit ball we've seen today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was saying out 9 miles an hour, and he battled that one, and that one had a nice trajectory to get over the Insight Credit Unit sign over there. So that's going to make the score 6-3, and now that leads only 3 runs here in the top of the 7th inning for the Hatters. That one's inside.
Right now, the Stetson pen is quiet. Still some cushion left here, although I wouldn't be surprised if we see another arm warm up. We are technically in a save situation. So my guess is it's going to be either Garcia or Spoljaric that we're going to see. This year, both of them are going to kind of take the closing role. That's what Coach Trimper told us. So, your guess as to who it's actually going to be.
The 1-1 pitch catches the corner of the plates. 1-2.
If I was going to take a stab at it, though, I think it's going to be Spoljaric. So they like keeping Annie for long relief situations, and they're probably going to need that with a 4-game series at some point. You would think, you got to plan for the worst and assume that a starter's not going to go the distance at some point. So you're going to need a long relief type, and Danny Garcia can certainly do that.
That one is a blooper, but nope, it's going to stay up into the infield and right into the glove of Jorge Arenas. Out number 2 for the Hatters as they try to get out of this inning with no more giving up, and that's going to bring up L.J. Bryant.
Well, that's about as easy as you like for an infielder on a popper. I'm not even sure that got above the netting. Right in front of the netting that covers the stands here from hard-hit foul balls and such.
And we're going to get a pinch hitter here for FAMU as
Yes, we are.
Number 26, Ethan Jennings, is going to step into the batter's box here. The freshman from Jacksonville, Mandarin High School, will take his first cut of the young season here.
Saw some playing time last year, but he's still looking for his first hit as a Rattler.
That one's up in the zone or outside the zone, 1-0.
He started 3 games for FAMU last year. 0 for 11 at the plate with 8 punch-outs.
That one's down 2-0 now.
So clearly, Jamie Shoup hoping that this will be a chance to help his young player get a groove on, so to speak.
That one's called for a strike, 2-1. Outs, Hatters lead at 6-3, a 2-run homer for FAMU by way of Jared Weber, as that one is outside 3-1 now the count goes to.
Jenkins an outfielder, so more than likely a straight swap here with Bryant. Probably ends up in right field.
3-1. Inside corner of the plate. Filling the count out.
Yep, caught the edge nicely there, did Jaseri.
Jaseri trying to get out of the inning here. 3-2. Jammed him. It's fouled down. Back at the plates. Keeping the count full. 3-2. 2 outs. 6-3. Hatters lead it here at Melching in game 1 of a doubleheader.
And I'm guessing that my stab was wrong here, Kenny, because that's Danny Garcia warming up in the Stetson. So if there's a move, it's going to be to the fireman.
3-2 is fouled back. Once again, this one's in the air down the right field line there. A battle here for the pinch hitter, Ethan Jenkins.
Danny Garcia's really carved out a niche role in that respect for Stetson. He's really been the guy that you put him in where the fire's hottest and he puts it out. And it's not blazing hot yet, but
3-2 is held off on it. That's ball 4 as Ethan Jenkins takes first base and his first at-bats as he walks.
And that is kind of where I was going with that. The fire's not at its hottest yet, but the temperature is definitely getting up there. FAMU's definitely battling their way back into this.
Pick up the catcher to Rayburn. He's after in game 1.
And Coach Thurno from the dugout making so.
This might be the last batter here.
Yeah, if they're going to somebody, it's going to be Garcia.
As that one's over the plate for a called strike 0-1.
There's no one else warming up in the pen. It's going to be him if it's anybody.
2 outs, runner on first base for the Rattlers. Trying to chip away more and more at this, down the 3-run lead now, 6-3, as that one's called for another strike, 0-2 now.
And I think probably the move yet, Kenny, is because Rayburn's a lefty, so they're wanting to take advantage of the matchup here. I don't think Chisari's going to face another batter after this, though.
See if he gets out of it. That one is just a little bit low there, 1-2 now.
I mean, after him is Tristan Cooper, and he's one of the stronger bats in the Rattler lineup. I'd be very surprised, whatever happens here, if Chisari faces Cooper.
1-2. Called for a strike as Shazari gets out of the inning and strands a runner for FAMU. 2 runs on a 2-run homer from Jared Weber pulls FAMU within 3 of the Hatters. It's 6-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, as Stetson leads the way here in Game 1 of a doubleheader here in DeLand. You're watching Hatter Vision.
Your attention, please. Defensive changes for the Rattlers. Staying in the game, batting number 26. Ethan Jenkins now plays left field. And Jared Weber, number 20, moves to right field. 26 Jenkins to left. 20 Weber to right.
Whoa. Dude, who's editing these songs?
Back to action here, the bottom of the inning. Stetson leading it 6-3 here. Eric Fago will step into the batter's box here. The right fielder for the Hatters. Is he still facing off with Sean Host on the mound for FAMU? That one's called for a strike, 0-1.
Heart of the order here for Steve Trimper's ball club. Although Fago and Sardinias haven't had the best of days so far.
So that one is a little bit inside. 1-1 now.
Fago managed to get on with a single fifth. Sardinias also walked in the 5th. Otherwise, they haven't gone on base today.
1-1 swung on and fouled back by Fago. 1-2 now.
DePonzio behind them, of course. He of the solo homer back in the 2nd. We've seen 4 homers in this test between both sides. Weber's last one for FAMU, cutting the lead in half.
As that one's driven into right field, but going back and making the play there is Weber, who has moved over from left field to right field as Jenkins, the pinch hitter from last half inning, moves over to left as he steps in. And that's going to bring up another Stetson batter, Hernan Sardines, the first baseman, who walked his last time up.
A guy that Stetson's hopeful will be a power bat, a real power threat for the Hatters as the season goes along. Nice
Left
breaker there from Host.
Yeah, as he swung on miss on that one. 0-1, 1 out. Hatters lead it by 3. Lays off on that one, and that one's called for a strike. 0-2. Quickly getting ahead in the count is Sean Host. Lefty on lefty battle here.
Sardinias, a career .287 hitter. He was at Maine.
That one's a little bit inside there. Lots of movement on it. 1-2.
21 homers total in his time, 104 RBIs. Guy that Steve Trimper is very high on. Actually recruited Sardinias to Maine just before he came to Stetson.
That one bounces to the plate. Even at the count at 2-2. Sardinias battles back and evens up the count.
having a vet presence like him in the lineup should pay real benefits for Stetson moving forward, especially manning the first base spot.
That one's popped up out of play over the press box here, Melchick Field.
He'll be in kind of a platoon situation with Hilton. Either him or Hilton will primarily be the first base guy, and whichever one of them is not playing on the field will more than likely be the DH. You'll also see Sardinius at times in the outfield, too.
The 2-2. Side, 3-2 the count goes to now with 1 out. Like you mentioned, nice to have Sardinius here. A lot of veteran leadership in this clubhouse for Stetson this year.
Yeah. A roster with 48 players. A record, by the way.
That one's driven foul. Give that one a ride, though, as that one's going to go way over the hitting pavilion there.
Yeah, he hit that far. Yeah, I mean, just in the transfers, I mean, Sardinius, of course, Jackson Olsen, the 2 grad transfers. Adding 2 pieces like that is a big move for a club like Stetson.
That one's inside. Looked like it almost clipped him, but it's either way, it's going to be a trot down to first base. First hit is AC Khan.
I think technically, nope, they're going to say he walked.
Yep.
Okay. It was close. I mean, it sounded like it hit something.
Yeah, it did, you could hear a little bit of a
but I mean,
something there.
Ultimately, it's a debate for the stat nerds.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter in the end. As Nick DePonzio steps in.
Yeah, same result there as you mentioned. Left field, Nick DePonzio steps in. He hit a homer back in the second inning over the right field wall.
That wind's been gusting pretty much nonstop out to right all game.
As he shows bunt there, but lays off 1-0. And it's taken down a couple notches here. It was blowing about 12 miles an hour at the start of this game. Now it's about down to 9, but still a fair amount of wind there to get it up there. It could help out.
You get it up in that stream, it'll carry.
Yeah.
For sure.
2-0 now as DePonzio gets ahead in the count with 1 man on, 1 out. Stetson leading at 6-3.
I mean, DePonzio's homer earlier in the game was proof of that. I mean, if that one gusting the way it was, it probably doesn't go out. It probably dies at the warning track.
That one catches the inside corner to the plate. 2-1 now.
And that's often what you see here at Stetson. This is not a home run hitter's park by any stretch. There are definitely a lot of times here where well-hit balls just straight up die. Although it generally tends to happen in right and center more than, in left and center more than in right. If the wind assists here at Melching, it's generally the way it's doing it today, which is right field blowing out. That's about the only time where you really see the wind make an impact in games like that. To benefit the batters, that is. Otherwise, it's usually more of a benefit for the pitcher.
Yeah, 3-1 is called for a strike. 3-2 now. And a lot of lefty batters here in this lineup here today for Stetson, and it showed.
That's something that's going to be a general trend for the Hatters, though. They've got a lot of lefty bats. They got 10 of them. I mean, that's a lot for a college baseball roster. Granted, you're also talking about a 40-man roster.
Yeah.
So that's unusual, too. But, I mean, regardless,
The pickoff there is a little bit wonky there for Sean Host. As
he lost balance on his plant foot.
Yeah. As he bounced that over to the first baseman, Rowell.
Well, that's one of the challenges of being 6'7" and 230.
Yeah, another big pitcher there is Kyle Coleman, the starter for FAMU, was 6'7".
Yeah, I mean, if you slip, it can look ugly.
3-2, swing and a miss there. Strikeouts for Sean Host as he gets to Ponzio. After a nice little battle there between the pitcher and batter.
Yep, and that's Host's second K of the day.
So that's going to bring up the catcher, Christian Pregent. He's had himself a nice day. His last 2 at-bats he's reached. He had a stand-up double and walked his last time up back in the 5th inning.
A guy with sneaky power, as the coaches like to say.
Holds off on that one. It's going to be a call for a strike. 0-1. Pregent, the local, played his high school ball in Port Orange at Atlantic High School.
Very good hitter there for the Sharks, actually.
That one's popped up. This one looks like it's going to stay in the park here, and that one's going to be gloved down there by Tucker. Rayburn there, and that's going to end the inning here for the Hatters as the Hatters strand one. 6-3, the Hatters lead it here as we head to the top of the 8th inning. You're watching Hatter Vision.
Florida A&M Rattlers, 3. Your attention, please. Changes for the Hatters. Now playing left field, batting 6th, number 1, Jake Murphy. And now pitching, number 40, Danny Garcia. Now batting, the third baseman, number 2, Tristan Cooper.
New pitcher for the Hatters as Danny Garcia will step them for the Lids. Here in the top of the 8th inning. Stepping into the batter's box for the Rattlers is Tristan Cooper as he takes that first pitch call for a strike from Danny Garcia.
Also got a defensive sub. Jake Murphy now in left for Nick DePonzio. Takes his spot in the order.
That one's a little bit high. 1-1 now the count goes to. Stetson leading at 6-3 here in game 1 of a doubleheader. This one 9 innings. Then game 2 will go 6 the rain last night. And then also a doubleheader by the same format tomorrow.
Only difference is the noon start time tomorrow.
Yep. As that one swung on, that's going to be popped up and should be no problem there in shallow right field. Drifting over is Jorge Arenas as he makes the play and gets the out for the Hatters in the top of the 8th.
Danny Garcia, the redshirt sophomore out of Pembroke Pines, 3.15 ERA last year. His career ERA under 2 at Stetson. That puts him number 1 in the clubhouse in that spot.
Grant Rowell takes the first pitch call for a ball. He pinch hit last time he was up. It was his first at-bat as he drew a walk. Takes the second pitch for a called ball, 2-0 ahead in the count.
And just to clarify myself there, he has the best ERA as a Stetson pitcher ever who's thrown at least 70 innings.
As that one's called for another ball, 3-0 now. Garcia fires in once again. That one's over the plates. Gets him a strike, 3-1.
And the career mark, he's also high up there in opponent batting average.
That one swung on and almost gloved there, but missed on by Olsen there at third base. And that's going to be a single there most likely. We'll see how they score it.
I'm
but
pretty sure. I don't think it hit his glove.
either way, it's going to be the same results as Rao gets on base for the second time this afternoon as he takes first base, and that's going to bring up
That's an error.
Sawan Lawrence. Is they're going to score that one in error?
Yep, they're going to score that one an error. So that's the first error for either side today.
Scoring at home.
I guess I must glove at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't, but what an easy play for Olsen regardless. That high bouncer like that, when it goes midway on you like that, it's a tough play. I mean, you really got to pick it clean or else you've got no chance.
Kind of stick it out there and kind of hope it hits your glove because it's the
it's not an easy one.
No.
It's not an easy one for sure.
Lawrence facing a 1-0 count. Runner on first base.
You just don't have as much reaction time at third base as you do in other spots, especially with a hitter. You know, it comes on you fast.
It's a hot corner.
Yeah, that's why they call it that. For sure.
1-0 is time called there by Lawrence.
To kind of finish my thought on Garcia, though, career-wise, opponents are batting .202 against him. The only other Stetson pitcher ever who's better than that, Logan Gilbert. So, put it in the context for you. Who, by the way, is flying his way through the Mariners organization.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That one's called for a strike.
I'm sure we'll see Logan in the big show sooner rather than later, and when you do, I will be picking him up on my fantasy team. That is a promise.
That one swung on into left field. Under it and making the catch is Murphy, who's been plugged over there in left field. And now 2 down for the Hatters here in the top of the 8th.
Murphy, one of 5 captains on the Hatters roster. The only one who's more than likely not going to see a lot of regular playing time other than as a defensive sub. You'll see quite a bit. Late in games where he'll be asked to come in for one of the outfielders. Who that'll be will depend on the situation, but he can play any 3 of the outfield spots, no problem.
That's going to bring up Joseph Perini, who reached on a single his last time up and ended up scoring after his teammate, leadoff batter for FAMU, Jared Weber, knocked in.
And it's a bit of an adjustment for Murphy, too, because he actually spent a good chunk of last season as a second baseman.
Yeah.
So, realistically, other than pitcher or catcher, there's probably no spot the kid couldn't play in the infield or in the outfield. He spent most of his time at second base last year and did pretty well for himself.
0-1 is swung on, and that one's going to get into foul territory, into the FAMU section of family and friends, and gloved there, or grabbed barehanded by one of the Rattler fans. Nicely there, as he might be able to take that one home.
Yeah, here they've kept a lot of the fan friends to certain sections of the ballpark. FAMU's people are just over the third base dugout where the Rattlers are. Stetson's over the first base dugout, spread over a couple of sections there.
0-2 from Garcia, as that one's just caught there by Perini down in the dirt, keeping the count at 0-2.
We still don't know when the general will be allowed back in to Melching, but it could potentially happen next weekend.
Yeah.
So, GoHatters.com, and of course, at Stetson Baseball on Twitter. They'll be letting you know. Follow them if you don't already.
As that one's lined into right field, that one's going to get over to Fago and rights, and base knock there. To back box for Joseph Perini, and his FAMU is in business here with 2 outs. Runners at first and second.
FAMU's had 6 hits in this contest by my count. Perini has 3 of them.
Yeah.
Nice debut for a freshman, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. He's making quite the impression here in his first game here early on. That's going to bring up Robert Robinson as he takes the first pitch call for a strike. He has struck out 3 times this afternoon.
Yeah, the Rattlers team that could desperately use offensive punch. 226 batting average as a team last year. They definitely struggled with the bat.
As that one's lined right to the second baseman, Arenas. He gloves it, fires it over to his first baseman, Sardinez, and that's going to end the inning. So the Hatters get out of the situation there. They strand two of the FAMU runners on the base pass at first and seconds, and the Hatters will take their lead into the bottom of the 8th inning. 6-3. Stetson leads it over the Rattlers here in DeLand. You're listening to Hatter. You're watching Hatter Vision. We'll be right back.
Stetson baseball fans, Bud Light is proud to be the official beer of Stetson University. Making friends is Bud Light's business, and as part of this, Bud Light wants to remind everyone that choosing a designated driver is what good friends do. And Stetson University thanks everyone for making a responsible choice in choosing a designated driver.
Bottom of the 8th inning here. Stetson leading at 60. FAMU. Jackson Olsen will step into the batter's box, followed by Jorge Arenas, and then the leadoff man, Andrew McNeil. Here, 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Hatters. As Olsen takes the first pitch, swung on, and right towards the dugout of the green and whites, 0-1.
Olsen ended his Hartford career leading the program in hits. It's a guy with, and he's actually nearing some milestones, if my memory serves.
That one is lined into left field, and a nice grab there by the left fielder, Jenkins, who stepped in only a couple innings ago as he was battling the sun and made the catch and then went down to the
I thought when Olsen hit that, it was going to drop.
Yeah.
Caught the end of the bat. It was tailing away. Great play from Jenkins. He showed some serious range there. It kind of went in slow motion, though. It didn't seem to be moving as fast as you would think. But give credit to the young man. That's not an easy catch to make, especially off the bench.
So that's going to bring up Jorge Arenas as he swings right away, and that one's fouled back over the first base line. Bleachers.
Arenas, a career .256 hitter in his time at Stetson. Played sparingly in summer ball for the Land Suns. Getting used to life at second base. He's been the shortstop mainstay at Stetson for a very long time.
He's 0-for-3 today with 2 ground into double plays as he fouls that one back once again, 0-2.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how that whole second base, shortstop, third base thing shakes out as the year goes along. I mean, obviously today you've got Arenas at second and Ball at short and Olsen at third, but it could end up being some other combination that takes it moving forward.
Big cut in the miss there by Arenas as he goes down on 3. There, 2 fouls. The down now for that. Top of the ninth inning here as Stetson leads it 6-3. Stepping in as the leadoff hitter for FAMU, Jared Weber, and we have some defensive changes here for Stetson.
Yep, Eric Fago's day is done. McNeil moving from center to right.
There's that one. Even up the count at 1-1.
And then
Weber.
Dylan Brazil, the freshman, is now stepping in at center field.
So some movement over in the defensive alignment here for Stetson as Danny Garcia on the mound trying to close it out here. 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? And they say he did not. Down there in the first base line, Arthur Thigpen says he did not. 2.
And that outfield combination you're looking at right now, Kenny, is actually pretty strong defensively.
As that one's pop into left field. Under it and getting the catch. Is the new left fielder, Jake Murphy.
Now batting the second baseman, number 15, Octavian.
And that's going to bring up Octavian Moyer here for FAMU with 1 out.
Yep, 2 outs left for FAMU to make up 3 runs.
Moyer popped out his last time out. He has a single and was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning. And 2 pop-ups as well. As that one's inside. 2-0.
So Stetson definitely in line for their 39th win all time against Florida A&M. Steve Trimper personally has never lost to FAMU. This would be his 5th win against the Rattlers.
2-1. That one's fired in for a strike. Danny Garcia.
And there's one other milestone worth noting too, Kenny.
That one's popped up. Let's see if it'll stay in the field of play. Pregen's going back at the... Oh, and he just missed it. He looked like he maybe lost it in the shade there, but made that spectacular catch a couple innings ago on the opposite side behind the plates. It's just going to be allowed second strike, 2-2.
So I guess what you're trying to say is that he's human.
Yeah.
That would have been a heck of a play had he made it. That was tough. He's been making a living near that dugout fencing today. Excuse me, not the dugout fencing. I'm trying to say the
extension of
the on deck circle.
Yeah,
on deck
circle.
The on deck circle fencing is what I was trying to say. Yeah.
That one's fouled back into the count at 2-2. Another foul. That one's at the FAMU dugout. Moyer battling.
Sorry, folks. First game for us all. We're still trying to get our bearings here. At least I am. So glad to have baseball back, though.
Oh, absolutely.
It's in baseball game. It's crazy to say that.
So that one's driven down the left field line, and that one's just going to be just foul. Just a couple inches left of the line there.
What I'll be interested to see, Kenny, is how that makes a difference in terms of the crowds once they finally do let the fans come back in. I suspect you're going to see a lot of interest, a lot of fans here at Melching. We've been told by the Stetson people that season ticket interest is higher than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So that's usually a pretty good indicator of what kind of crowds you can expect. But, of course, that'll be a challenge with COVID in terms of keeping the social distancing. But, still, I suspect that once you see things open up, you're going to see a lot of fans back here.
That one's to third base. Glove there by Olsen. Fires across the diamond, and 2 down now here for FAMU as Stetson is 1 out away for getting their first victory of the season.
And not just that. Takes this out and gets this win. It would be the 500th win for Stetson all time here at Melching Field.
That's a milestone, yes, indeed. Ethan Jenkins will step into the batter's box here, the righty.
And then after that, the next big milestone to watch is the 600 one for Coach Trimper. If he gets the win here, he'll be 5 away. 600 in his career, of course, not just at Stetson.
Yeah. That one's fired in for another strike. 0-2, 1 strike away here for Danny Garcia and the Hatters. 0-2 as we got a timeout.
Yep. Time called by Chris Tipton before that pitch was thrown. So Danny Garcia keeping it on the rails nicely since he came in the 8th inning. A little trouble in the 8th, but managed to get out of it.
0-2, a little bit high. 1-2 now. 2 outs. Nobody on. Stetson leading it by 3, 6-3 in game 1 of a double.
This would be a save situation, so if he'd get his first save as well.
That one's in the dirt, a little bit low. 2-2 now. Game 2 will kick off about an hour after this one concludes. The 2-2, call for a strike, and that's going to do it here. Stetson wins it 6-3. Another strikeout for the Hatters pitchers as Danny Garcia shuts the door. And the Hatters will improve to 1-0 on this young season.
Nice win for Stetson. Expected, but still nice to get 6-3. The final. Kind of interesting considering how this game started. It really had the feel early on like we were going to see a track meet, but all the runs coming early. Really after the 5th inning, the Stetson bats cooled off, and FAMU certainly, kept themselves within striking distance. And they may not be the most talented bunch, but they're a scrappy bunch, and they're definitely going to get wins this year. I can see how this is a team that you sleep on Florida A&M, they're going to give you trouble.
Yeah, you've seen that, and they battled back and did not give up throughout this game and made it interesting towards the end, and they had their opportunities, leaving the bases loaded as well in the middle of this game, and they really could have made it interesting, but Stetson comes away winning it 6-3. They have 3 homers to start off game 1 of this series and start off the season, and they'll return in shortly here.
Yep. Little doubleheader baseball. What better way to start opening weekend, right? Get all the baseball you can handle.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for us. Stetson wins it 6-3 for Ken Gallagher, Masad Bandian, our cameraman Brant Hoyninski, and our producer Maggie Hessler. Thank you for joining us on Hatter Vision as Stetson improves to 1-0 here on the young season, 6-3. Join us right back here on Hatter Vision for Game 2 of this doubleheader between Stetson and FAMU. We'll see you in a little bit.